Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Sermon with Ola. And again, I've forgotten the episode number. Every week, consistently now. Um, yo, thank you guys, man. Thank you. I really appreciate the way this is going. I've had some amazing feedback this week. I had a brother I really respect say to me that he listens to a lot of pods and um yeah, that in terms of the great pods that are out there, this isn't like out of place amongst them. So that's a huge compliment to me. Like that's amazing. Whether the numbers show it or the critical acclaim and the money and all that kind of stuff. When people who really are in this thing let you know that what you're doing is good, it kind of gives you hope to keep going. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that people take time out to give me dope compliments. People take time out to share this. People that take time out just to get involved in the Instagram live discussion, to leave comments on the YouTube video, to DM me about the topic. Like all of you guys, are all dope. You keep me going. Thank you to the Patreon subscribers. I'm sure they would have just yanked some more money out your account. I appreciate you guys so much, especially in a time like this to be giving. All I can do is pray for you that God continues to bless you and replenish your pockets. I pray that what I'm doing here is fertile ground for all this sowing that you guys are doing, and I just pray that in general, I'm able to provide the value that you guys are supporting. And also in general, thank you to everyone on the Instagram live last week. I think it was a very good discussion. It was fairly short in terms of the fact that sometimes we go for like 3 hours, and this time it was two, but still the 2 hours was meaty. And we had some very good discussions. As always, Emily came through with the dope stories. Shout out to everybody who watched the live afterwards and wanted her to get back with the ex. Um, yeah, and if you don't follow Emily, her Instagram screen name is the other Mrs. Andy Warhover. It's very long, but the other Mrs. Andy Warhover. Go check her page out because right after my live, she does a live as well on a Sunday evening, and it got wild last week, but it was hilarious. So yeah, she does a lot of dope topics as well. So I just wanted to give her a quick shout out and plug that for you guys. All right, let's get into this topic. Okay. So I actually hinted that I was going to talk about this topic last week on my Instagram stories because I posted a particular video and I wrote like, "Oh, I wish I could do a whole podcast episode on this." And this week I just decided I might as well do it. It's something that's kind of bubbles underneath for me in many ways. It's something I can feel a lot of the time, and I want to say it, but I don't quite have the context or the way in which to put this across. So I'll explain to you. The video is like a gang of black men. They all look very dapper, very smart. They all wearing really nice suits, and they basically just do like this real swagger walk, like all of them in their sharp suits, and they just skip down some steps, and they get being recorded doing it. And yeah, man, underneath loads of comments from people going, "Oh my goodness, yes, man, let's step forward. Oh yeah, the men are coming. Where are the men like this? Why don't men dress like this anymore? Oh, these are some powerful men. Oh, black men will rise," and so on and so forth. So what I put was I want to do a whole podcast episode on even just this video alone. I wonder if you could tell what I was going to say. And the reason why I say that is because it's an angle I don't hear talked about enough, which is what this podcast is. It's usually me just talking about things that or saying or expressing ideas I feel like don't get the light of day. So what I actually wanted to say about that video is it worries me how easily we are deceived by dope visuals, by great optics. That's what I'm putting out. But I'm going to qualify. So, the first thing I have to say is I, more than anybody, am a sucker for dope visuals. I love dope visuals, right? Yo, I spend a lot of time like focusing on getting this lighting right and trying to create this look. If you're watching this on YouTube, this didn't happen by accident. Like I spent money and I put this together and I learned how to use my camera and all that good stuff just so that I could provide a look. I wanted a specific look. I wanted it to look impressive visually. I wanted it to capture the eye. I'm very proud of it. It's something I work on, and I've become more and more interested in how cinematographers and videographers and directors bring out certain looks on camera and so on. I love a visual. Don't get me wrong. I'm just I think the balance of how much weight we put on visuals is just mad. I think it's a bit mad. It's weird because I'm split a little bit on it, but as I qualify, hopefully it'll become clearer where I stand, even to me. Before I was ever a dad, I visited my brother and sister-in-law, and they had a fairly newborn son, and I carried him, and he fell asleep on my chest, and my wife took a really cute picture of us, and she sent it to me, and I was like, I like this picture. I posted it. You know, it really bothered me how many people underneath wrote, "You, oh, you're gonna be such a good dad." What? A good dad? What? Because I took a picture with a baby on my chest? How easily deceived are my people? Yo, I put a baby on my chest, took a picture for the gram. They said I'm gonna be a good dad. What does it take to be a good dad in these streets? You telling me in this very decade you got to take a picture with a baby on your chest? Now you a good dad? God forgive us all. That's how easily deceived my people are. Now I know it's very low stakes in terms of people commenting on Instagram. In the grand scheme of things, if they feel like I'm going to be a good dad or they get a sense of that, that's wonderful and that's great. And I really hope that, as I am a father now, this will continually be said of me, having seen me be a father in practice. But yo, to see that off a picture, I understand the vibe, but I see it too often. And it makes me wonder, like, how many times people go into relationships with somebody because of how they present themselves visually. And the optics, how it's going to look. How many times people are more concerned with the visuals and the optics of their wedding than they are with the content of their marriage and their relationship. The content of the vow they're taking, the responsibility they're taking on. I always joke about it, but it's really, really, you can tell that moment, right? When a couple gets married, it's literally like about, I want to say like 15 days after the wedding, and no one cares about them anymore. You get a high because you get all this attention. People are giving you gifts. People are giving you money. People are celebrating you. Everyone's looking at you. You're dressed up. You look fantastic. There's a photographer and a videographer capturing everything. Then you go off and do like honeymoon. You're still excited. People are still finding out how was the wedding, blah, blah, blah. And then it tails off and everybody moves on with their lives. And you can tell that the couple, especially the bride, because the bride gets a very inordinate amount of attention considering the rest of life, right? Grooms can kind of pass on by. Guys can get married in secret. Women is very, very clear. There's a lot of focus on what was the dress, how did she look, blah, 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 blah. So that tail off is even harder on women, in my opinion, observing from the outside. So when it tails off, the next thing they do is they post pictures from the wedding going, oh, take me back to 2 weeks ago. Oh, I can't believe this day happened. It still seems like such a dream. So that everybody can go right back to the picture and give them nice comments again. And say, oh my goodness, oh, you look so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sis, and even you, bro. Like, now comes the real stuff. The real content of marriage, that the thing you claim you wanted so much, now you guys have to clean toilets. Now you have to go do grocery shops and run a budget. Now you go see each other every day and there's no novelty anymore. Or it's going to run out very quickly. Now, seeing you guys together isn't that much of a trip. We've been seeing you guys together. So now you got to go and start a joint YouTube channel. No shade to anyone, by the way. Y'all want to do these joint YouTube channels? I might even do one day. I don't tend to put my family out there for a good reason, but I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. Oh, the attention is fantastic. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, the validation. But literally, y'all just need to look cute together, and people like, oh my goodness, people start filling in the blanks. Oh, their marriage must be amazing. Oh my goodness, they must have amazing sex. Look how beautiful they both are. Oh my goodness, look at them. They must be making so much money. Look how nice their house is. No. Certain people are taking pics for the gram. Meanwhile, what you can't see is that little final demand letter from Bright House sitting on the corner because they done rented their couch. And the man are coming back to come and repossess the couch. It sounds like I'm enjoying other people's misfortune, but it's not. I'm laughing at how easily we're swayed by visuals. Now, I think visuals are important. I've made this very clear that I put a lot of effort and time into my visuals. I've made it very clear that, look, I think visuals are powerful. Do you know how many songs I've heard where I was like, eh? But then I saw the video for it, I was like, that song is a banger. Do you know how many times I've listened to the Cisco Thong song and done the stomp like that he does in the sand that makes all the ripples go? Do you know how many times I've done that? Simply because I saw it in the video. Now, I don't even need to see the video anymore. I just need to hear the song and I know there's a part where I need to stamp. How mad is that? That's how much visuals are important to us. They give us so much in terms of association, in terms of these intangible things we call like a vibe or whatever. People spend this money on music videos not because they're stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like learning how to use a camera and how to shoot stuff and direct stuff, it's still valuable to today. Why? Because visuals are important. And yes, of course, okay, people do radio sitcoms and do audio podcasts like this, but I provide the visuals as well because I know the power of visuals. So what I'm saying is this thing is powerful and I understand it. I just wish we had the right level of faith in visuals to check for the content as well. I wish we weren't so easily swayed by visuals that we forget content. That the optics of a situation wouldn't make us so dazzled that we forget to check. Let's see if this is actually real. I'll tell you a practical application of this that has been very real for me in my life. There was a time where I became very, very disillusioned with like the way the world works, specifically the educational system and career work system. It was right around the time I got to uni. I think it maybe started before then, but it was definitely when I got to uni. And there was a shift in me that said, look, I've always had a desire to be like a high-performing, exceptional individual. I've always wanted to be that person. Wherever I go, I want to shine, I want to do well, I want to excel. But there was a part where I started to feel like, you know, I got fairly good grades, you know, through school. But there was a time where the grades started to mean nothing to me. I was like, this is all so contrived. And yeah, I was a teenager using words like contrived. It's not that long a word. I was like, this is all so contrived. This has nothing to do with the real world. Especially when I got to uni, I was like, come on, man, this is an absolute bubble. All of this place makes zero sense. You guys are fabricating the real world as a way to train us for it. Meanwhile, the real world is out there and it looks nothing like what's going on in here. In here, they reward you for being a good person, a good boy, putting your hand up, wait until you're asked before you speak. In the real world, it rewards you for taking initiative, breaking the rules sometimes when necessary. I was like, nah, man. I'm sick and tired of doing stuff because it will look good on my CV. That was the world that was coming up more and more and more. So before I got to uni, my school was already encouraging us to do certain things because it would look good on our UCAS application. I was like, this is all a bit fake. Then we get to uni, it's like, do this because it will look good on your CV. Go and get some work experience, take part in a club or a society, all these extracurricular activities. I was like, so no one actually even really cares if you've done a good job, if you've really built up the internal, intangible personal development that your CV seems to speak of. As long as it's on your CV and it looks good, it's fine. I was like, this sucks. I actually want to be a decent person. If I go out and study something, I want to actually visibly and tangibly improve as a result of having done this. I really hated it, especially when I started comedy as well. I was like, you know what? Every summer from the summer I graduated, which was 2009, at least once a year, because sometimes I went in the Easter. So I graduated in 2009. That summer was the first time I properly went out to New York for the summer. And I came back having gigged in New York almost every other night for 4 weeks. And it was Nabil. I think I was living with Nabil at the time. Nabil Abdul Rashid that turned to me and said, "Nah, man, you leveled up. I don't know what you did out there, but you leveled up." That's what I loved. It wasn't so much just the gas of, oh, I'm in New York. It was the fact that you could tangibly see that me having taken myself out there, put myself in a new comedy experience, a new comedy circuit, and put myself outside of my comfort zone, had visibly improved my ability to perform as a comedian. That's what I liked. So I was like, that's it. Every year I have to do this. And I did this up until, I think, maybe 2017. Then you become a dad and life takes over. But that's not the point. The point is that I want to see real, actual value rather than just a visual perceived value. Because what I started to realize as my career went on is that I could have a great comedy career, but most people would never find out because I didn't have certain boxes ticked, right? Like when you win an award and you start saying award winning comedian, all of a sudden now you have more cachet. Once you start saying, oh, you've been on this particular TV program, being on that TV program didn't make you necessarily a better comedian. You could have been just as good, if not better, before you did the show. But the fact that you've done the show will open up more opportunities for you than your skills did. And that bugs me, man. That really, really, really bugs me. It bugs me because I feel like it means that we consistently set up a world in which people pay eye service. People do things that look good. They don't have to actually be good. That's messed up, man. That's messed up. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to say about it. I just feel like I wish people were more cognizant of this. That every time you see a dope visual, you question it a second. Like, is this actually good or does it just look good? If this girl looks fine, and I see her on Instagram, before I fill in the blanks, and we have all these studies that show people have pretty privilege, and we assume good things of good-looking people, right? Like all the stories and the movies and the fairy tales show us that the good people look good and the bad people look ugly, right? There's an ugly witch and there's a beautiful princess. The princess is good, the witch is bad. So we make these associations, and so when we see beautiful people, we start to go, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. Oh, she must file her taxes on time. No! These jumps that we make in our mind are wild. And you might think, nah, not me, I'm not that dumb. But you do it as well, I'm sure. I've made the mistake myself many times. I have to catch myself. I have to be very cognizant of it, not to apply this idea that if it looks good, it is good. I am somebody who, you know how many meetings about Sunday service have started with I just really want some dope visuals. I'm like, because I know how much visuals are powerful. But I want to make sure that at least if I'm doing dope visuals, there's some content behind it. There's some real weighty content behind it. You say, okay, nah, Sunday service looks good, Ola. You got the dope branding. You got, the room in Vauxhall with the screens, and you got the smoke. You got the lighting done, blah blah blah. But the show itself was actually good and funny. Was actually enriching. It was actually a very creative, beautiful show. So it's not that you just had visuals and then the rest of it was like, what? I think we really need to investigate how much we've let slide because it came with good visuals. How much bad character we've tolerated because it's come from pretty people. How much terrible content we've consumed because it was beautifully presented. It's actually wild. How many businesses that sell you terrible products, but they're well packaged? Think about it. Think about some of the places where you eat. Think about if they didn't have the packaging on the food, would you still eat? Would you still gas it up? Would you still like it? That's what you need to ask yourself. Look, me, for me, I think visuals are a great place to, great thing to incorporate. I keep saying this. But I also think we're too easily bamboozled. Visuals are a great way to even inspire people. The visuals can be inspiring. But if it doesn't follow up with anything, then what was the point in all this inspiration? You know when you watch that video of all these black men putting on this in their fresh suits and they're jogging down the steps and everyone's looking mad, coordinated and dope and blah blah blah. At the end of it, what happened? Well, some of them took their suits off, went back to what? The same struggle they were in before? The same character flaws they had before? The same lacks that they had before? The same hang-ups and poor relationships they had before? Like, if we're going to just see a bunch of black men looking good and we want to impose on that this idea that, like, this is progressive, this is powerful, this is unity, this is us moving together. I understand that, and visuals are very important. That's why we shoot music videos and all these, visual artistic concepts. But what after that? It's very easy on social media because social media rewards you, not necessarily for what you do, but for what you can show. So I still show, but let's do. Like one of the things I said with Sunday service this year, earlier this year, right before the lockdown, we turned 3. We had our 3rd year anniversary. And I said I'd always wanted Sunday service to become a force for good. So I asked everybody to show up with non-perishable items, food, hygiene products, blah, blah, blah. And people showed up and showed out. The front of the stage was full with donations. People brought tins of food. People brought tampons. People brought toothpaste and toothbrushes and whatnot. And the aim was to always use it to support the community kitchen at my church, which is in the community. When we were in Streatham before, it was always host people from Streatham and wider to come for a meal and then give them, some things they can take home, care packs. We collected all of this, and then the lockdown hit. The interesting thing was, it was like the need and the desire for these things even became more important because people now were stuck in their homes and weren't necessarily, and there was all these shortages at the supermarkets. People's money was tight. People were worried. So the people in the community who, were really being blessed by these donations now needed it even more. So my church we moved to a new venue, new location. We just ran like a distribution center for free care packs. And I was able to make that donation on behalf of Sunday service, a comedy show, right? This is not a charity, it's not a church or whatever it is, but these were just people who, because of the environment they were brought into, yes, with all the branding and whatever, actually made a real physical impact in somebody else's life. And so even when I was handing it over to my pastor, I made a video of it and I posted a video of it. And I was like, it's a shame that I really have to post a video of it, but it's mostly for accountability so that the people who donated can see that, like, this is actually going somewhere. This is going towards really helping people. So that part, I understand it. But what good is it if we just have all these dope brands, dope visuals, everything's looking good, everything's looking appeasing to the eye, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't amount to anything? What's the point? What is the point if it's, just, I'm trying to remember the word for visually appealing that my art teacher always used to use. But anyway, yeah, even if it was just so visually appealing, if we lived a life of constant visual appeal, at what point would we start to say, nah, we need real substance now? We need substance. It's really bugging me that I can't remember that word. Anyway, I think I've ranted enough, and I just hope that this week's sermon kind of changes the way you look at some things. If you see me trying to chop up and trying to edit and trying to light and trying to record well and so on, by all means, enjoy it, respect it, you know what I'm saying? Like, encourage it. But make sure that I never get to the point where I just putting out trash videos with dope lighting. And ask more of your own. Ask more of your content creators. Ask more of your artists and creatives. Ask more. I mean, especially if you are financially supporting, and you're putting your money down as well, not just the people who are doing it for free and doing it for a hobby, and you're telling them I need more. But I'm just saying, like, don't be so easily swayed by visuals. Don't let someone show you a picture and then you now start filling in all these blanks there and you never see the result or the substance of it. When you see somebody that's good looking, ask more questions. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody. To be honest, there isn't really much contention on this issue. So I reckon it's probably going to be a short Instagram live. I don't think there's any real sort of tension in this question. It's something I wanted to get off my chest. But I would still love to hear your thoughts. So if you want to jump on the Instagram live just to tell me what you thought about this week's episode, what your thoughts are on how much visuals rule our lives, then please do jump on. Please do come. I'll still be there. Even if we do just 1 hour or less than an hour, that's dope. I still want to hear from you. I want a few people to jump on and just speak on it for a second. Because it might just help cement it, or it might give me another perspective on it. Don't think I'm pooping on anybody who makes visuals for a living. I understand it and I'm with you. But let's add some substance to it now. Thank you to the Patreon subscribers, as always. Thank you to all you guys who are sharing it and listening. Stay blessed.